and welcome back everyone. So from the last video, no real surprises afterwards. I did have one little leak, which was this fitting on the back of the pressure gauge. I obviously forgot to do that one up, which was annoying, but it was simple enough to sort out. Other than that, it's been absolutely fine. I've had a little play with it, just to go over everything, just to see how it was. I have to say the valves are really nice. The dead band in the middle of the valves, so the centres, they're really small, so very small movements either side of that, you get action from it, which is good. And also, the movements seem to be precise. Generally really good. I'm really pleased with them. They don't seem to be creeping at all, which again is a problem for a lot of valves, so time will tell, but I think, overall, really pleased. So let's crack on. I'll go through my transmitter settings when everything's all up and together and we do like a running video. I'll go through everything just to explain what I've done so far, but obviously you can't really set it up completely until it's in the dirt, because obviously it's completely different air digging to digging in the ground. So it's telling me to fit all these pieces for the electronics to go in, but I'm not going to fit those just yet until I've got this rear counterweight mount all done and the counterweight sat in place. So because the counterweight's got a fair few wires in it, and I believe, I'm not actually sure about this yet because nothing's overly clear, but I believe that the counterweight lifts off almost to get the battery in and out, because that's the only way I can see the battery coming in and out. So I'm interested to see how this sort of works, so that's another reason why I'm going to put it together and find out, and then I can see where my wires and everything need to go off of that as well, instead of fitting them and then realising that I could have done it a different way. I'm not going to put any thread lock on these, because I think these are going to need to be adjusted to suit how the counterweight sits on these. So there's a fair bit of adjustment in and out on these. So I will just put these on, and then when I'm happy, if I think they need a bit of thread lock, then I'll put some on. Right, so that's that in place. Now it says about these, they slot over this. What does it say? It's saying snap into position, adjust the tightness until it cannot be loosened and can be removed, and then remove it. So I'm guessing these are kind of a, there you go, snap-on arrangement. So that's that. Okay, so yeah, they're relatively good, I think. Can be loosened and can be removed. I'm not entirely sure if that means that they need to be tight on there or what. I think if you tighten them on there though, that's the wrong tool. That you're not going to be able to then put it off. Oh no, it does still pull off. Okay. Doesn't want to come off. I'd say that's pretty good. Right, move this out of the way. Right, and there's the counterweight. Plenty of wires on this. Now I glued the lenses in with my UV glue so it didn't cloud up. And then you just screwed in the plates to hold in the LEDs. Glued in the LEDs into these, and again the lens is on there with the UV glue as well so they don't get cloudy. And the little number plate lights, I didn't actually put anything on these because they're two little plastic pins. Let's see if I can pull one out. No, I'm not going to risk it. Yeah, there's two little plastic pins on them, and they were quite a nice snug fit, so I just pushed them in and didn't use anything to fix them on with. But yeah, as you can see, there's a ton of wires in these. So I was keen to kind of get that mounted just to see what I can do with all these wires and how it's going to work. Because obviously, if this is removable, then it needs to, the wires are going to need a certain amount of length to obviously pull it out of the way. So let's get some of these. I'm going to go in here. I need some M2, M3x4s. Which are them? Thread lock on there. I'm really looking forward to using this. Yeah, first impressions on the valves is going to be a very nice machine to dig with. see. That goes on, and these bits. Okay, I get it. So I think by the looks of it, the counterweight kind of flips down. So it stays on the machine, it just pulls down so you can get to the battery. So let's just have a dry run, I think. And the 3x8s. Must be another pot. And 3x8s. Alright, so I'm probably just going to pop this on off camera, just because you're probably not going to be able to see me do it anyway. So be right back. Alright, that's the counterweight on. Just put 2 screws in it temporarily just to hold it, so and obviously just to see how it works. So yeah, basically it's solid in place, and then you just pull back, and then it flops down. I'm guessing then the battery will slide out out the back. So now I know that it doesn't come off completely, I can now tidy these wires up accordingly. So yeah, quite a neat little design, that. Right, so now I will pause it again, take that back off because now I know what I need to do, and then we will get the other pieces in and start fitting the electronics. Right, and we're back. So next is this piece here, which is going to hold the receiver on top of the valves. Kind of fed the wires for the motor around there as best as I can. Obviously that might not be their finished position, I'll just see as I go forth to where the best solution is going to be for them. There, a couple of screws in that. Now the next piece that goes on holds everything else, which basically everything's going to go inside here. The speed controller for the pump, the slew, and what else? Oh, and the drive motor as well. So yeah, you've got to get 3 ESCs in there, and then it mounts in this way round, and you can't get to anything from this side. So I'm pretty sure we're going to have to just mount them in there, get the wires out, and then tidy them all up, and then fit it into place. And then obviously try and connect it up and tidy the rest of the wires up. We're probably going to be able to get a bit of the wiring above the slew motor. Again, just try and keep it all neat and tidy. We'll just see how we get on. Give me a thread lock. thing I have done, which I might as well talk about now, is in the interior there is a, if you remember, they give you the switch. Now there's a micro switch in there. Now I've wired it up through a 80 amp relay, so the micro switch is now switching the relay, which obviously I'll power from the battery, so that is going to be the main switch for turning the machine on and off. So yeah, that's nice and convenient. It adds a bit more scale detail as well, which is nice. Right. Now the fan for the radiator, I don't know if I'm going to wire that up yet or not. I'll see how loud it is. If it's really loud and annoying, I'm probably not going to bother, because it's a fair size hydraulic tank on this, so being in Britain, I doubt it's going to get mega hot. I've never ever used a fan before on any machine, so, and they've all run at a pretty consistent temperature. I always check the oil and the pump temperatures after use, just to see what they're like, and yeah, they're always still relatively cold, to be honest. So that's that. Now let's get the ESCs out, so I will just unbox all the ESCs and then get them on the desk. Right, so I haven't unboxed that one yet. So that's the ESC they give you for the pump, which is a Hobby Wing 10BL120 amp ESC. 16BL30 for the drive motor, which is nice. And then for the slew, they give you this thing, which is supposed to be a 320 amp ESC. Now, while there's nothing wrong with this one, it probably will work. How long it will last, who knows? I'm not going to use that. I am going to use a Hobby Wing 1060, which I used in my PC360 before I upgraded to Servanaut. So yeah, I think that'll be more than good enough for the job in this. Get that one out of the box. So yeah, that one's for the drive ESC. So to start off with, I'm not going to use that plug, so we shall ditch that. Centamia plugs are good for nothing. Right, now on this one, the wires are too short for the motor. These have already got 4mm bullet connectors on, ready to accept the one on the slew motor, which is handy. So obviously out of that on the other LESU. So now all I need to do is extend these wires. Already powered my soldering iron. Pair of handy hands, which are extremely useful for holding stuff that you don't want to burn your fingers with. I use a Antex soldering iron. I think this one is 50 watt. It does everything I need it to do. It's no good for doing like batteries or anything like that. You need 150 watt minimum for that. For all the little stuff like this, it's ideal. And that's 2. Bit of shrink wrap. Shrink that on. I'm done. Right, now then, positioning them into this thing. Use 3M BHB tape for sticking everything down with. This one's not as good as the one I normally get, which I don't know why, because it's supposed to be the same. The last one I had was a grey tape with a white paper on it instead of this red plastic. This red plastic just seems to be an absolute nightmare to get off. But it's really good tape, because once you're finished with it, you can literally just peel it off. It doesn't leave any residue on it either. So there's nothing worse than peeling off a receiver or whatever, and then you got to use tons of brake cleaner or pick it off for forever. So where's my scissors? Now I will clean everything you're going to stick tape on. I would clean with some brake cleaner, just because obviously all the oil and grease and stuff from the plastic when they mould them is still going to be on there, so that just cleans it all off and leaves a nice clean surface ready for it to stick to. Like so. Right, I'll decide how we're going to place these in here. That's probably going to have to go there. I don't think that's going to go in there. Now, I did disconnect the fan when I made the last video because it was extremely noisy. But I am going to connect that back up. Again, it's probably not needed because the motor and the pump's not really working mega hard. So yeah, so that one there, that one there, the other one next to it. Again, clean inside that, the painted surface with a bit of brake cleaner, just to make sure it's got the best chance possible to stick. Let's try and put that down. Try and get that right at the back. There. That'll do. With the switch, make sure that's tight. to be turned on and they'll stay on permanently. Just double check that's for LiPo and forward reverse. So the jumper's pulled out for forward brake reverse and forward brake. So that will literally be forward and reverse. You won't have a brake delay, which I think, no, the other ESC is switchable as well, so don't have to worry about that. Switch on top. Now the last one. Might have to extend them as well. Might be right actually. Bring them out on top. Still get onto them, so that's fine. Right, well, that's all three in position. Make sure they're all stuck down well. Right, so that will plug into the slew motor straight away, so I don't need to do anything with that. That and that and that. All these signal wires to go up to the receiver. Feed that one up this side. So all three of them together. I've just got that resistor there, which I will tape inside there as well. So sorting this mess of wires out. So them three can go there, they'll be fine. Probably would have got away with connecting it onto there, which I think I will do. I will splice that in. Same with the negative, I could probably get away with splicing that in as well. Yep. So, that's my knife. Cut a section of that out. Get my handy hands to hold that. Whenever you're soldering close to the board on the ESC, try not to get too much heat into it because you will unsolder it off the board. I think in them 1060s are waterproof, so they're held in with resin as well, so it'll be a little more tricky to unsolder it, but especially these ones, although again, because these are, I think that's 12 gauge wire, so that's quite a meaty wire. Join it together. think it's better soldering directly, all this sort of stuff. I'm happy with that. Obviously it makes it a pain in the butt if something fails, then you need to unsolder everything, which is, you know, a bit of a nightmare, but well, it's not a nightmare, it's just not as quick. It's just unplugging something, so bear that in mind. Bigger shrink there. That's then joined. The negative. Probably could have done with a new blade in my knife. Another little tip, which is good when you're soldering, have plenty of cable ties. Another way to do it is to cable tie them together. Where you want them. Like so. Solder that. And when you're happy, cut the cable off. Just rinse that out. Right, so now I need to connect them to them two, and we should be ready to get it in. Right, I'm going to go off camera now and just finish tidying up them, and then I will be back. Alright, so we've got all these all tidied up now. All the positive and negatives are all run into these. That's going to be the switch wire, which is on the negative as well, which I will put another connector on the part going from the cab when we get that far. So yeah, I think we'll leave this one there. Any comments, please leave them below, please like if you enjoyed it. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.